What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Blake's Takes. And since we are about to journey off into football season, I thought I'd go into a little football season myself and talk about the show All American. The show that you can catch on CW and Netflix as well. The show that stars Daniel Ezra as Spencer James, Michael Evans as Jordan Baker, Cody Christian as Asher Adams, Breezy as Coop. What about Coop? And Samantha Logan as Olivia Baker. So, for those of you who don't know, I did grow up playing football all my life and a year in college. So, it's been a while since I strapped up the helmet and pads, but as people who have played the game, it doesn't leave you. You love it forever. But what I want to talk about All-American today is this one question. How in the world does it have a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes? It also has a 7.6 on IMDb, which that's good for IMDb. And then it has a 5 out of 5 on Facebook. I just want to know how. So for those of you who don't know, the show All American is loosely based off true events. Every episode, it says at the bottom, inspired by true events of a former football player, Spencer Paysinger. Spencer Paysinger played football in South Los Angeles, then went on to play college football at Oregon, where he went to a national championship game there, then signed to the New York Giants as an undrafted free agent in 2011, stayed there for about 3 years, won the Super Bowl there, and then he had a few years in Miami, and then was cut in the same year by the Jets and the Panthers in 2017. So he's on set for most of the times as a producing consultant. He also plays the assistant coach for Billy Baker in season 3, who's played by Taye Diggs, the head coach. And I think he's also in the other seasons as well as his assistant coach. But I have a lot of beef with this show. I just don't know how it's 96%. This show pisses me off so much, but I can't stop watching it. It's addicting. And I'm sure a lot of you have a show like that out there. I just can't stop watching it. Now, as we know, CW tends to have shows that, has more drama. That's what they did with Flash. And it just starts to revolve more around the drama. Now, season 1 did have a good plot. Spencer James transfers from Crenshaw High School to Beverly Hills. And it shows that transition of being at a new high school, being a high school student, being on a new football team, all these different friendships, relationships, and just the controversy that he has with his friends back in Crenshaw because he transferred to this, preppy high school. Season 2 had even a good story too. They brought back Spencer James' dad into his life, and that was the main conflict and resolution of that season. They have so many side stories in season 3 that you forget the main theme of the show, which is football. Honestly, half of the time you forget that football is even a part of the show. Football in this show is like a side story itself. It's not even a main theme. But let me just rant off about the beefs that I have with this show. First of all, Spencer James, not believable character. Spencer James honestly might be the worst character of this show, and he's the main character. This man tries to solve everyone's problems besides his own. And it is so exhausting, and it's just the same story every single time. Another beef that I have with the show is I have never seen more adults in my life hold grudges from when they were kids. It is infuriating how immature these adults are. They're adults, still holding grudges from shit when they were kids. For example, in season 3, the new principal of Crenshaw High School, where Spencer is playing at, he transfers back, and Coach Billy Baker is coaching there now. The new principal of Crenshaw decides to defund the football program so that, other programs in the school can get funding. The main reason why he's doing this is because Coach Billy Baker punched him freshman year in high school, knocked him out, and this was the reason why he had to get sent to boarding school, and he blames it all on Billy Baker. This is 25 years ago, and these adults are still holding grudges. Another beef that I have with All-American is this is not what high school football is like. And the recruiting process that they portray in All-American is beyond what actually happens. So first of all, Spencer James, right? He's an All-American. You see in the seasons that he says, he's in the top 300. You know how they have ESPN top 300 for high school for us? Well, he says he's in the top 300. And South Crenshaw, the whole city of LA, the big-ass city, puts him on some pedestal. Like, no, that does not happen. One, do you know how many good football players there are in LA, in California? This one player is not God. And they name sandwiches after him. They do all this shit for Spencer James. And the kid doesn't even have an offer. He doesn't even have an offer. In season 2, he gets an offer from UCLA, right? Then, spoiler alert, he gets shot. He survives, but then they suspend his offer, all right? And he wants to play at UCLA. You're telling me that the top 300 player in the nation doesn't have more than one offer? And going into season 3, he has 0 offers even after proving that he's fine? What? He starts getting offers from these colleges that are made up. Why make up colleges if you're going to use UCLA as the one real college? Either go all in and just make up a bunch of fake colleges, make it more believable and show some continuity in the show, or you go ahead and actually talk about real colleges that exist. Just show some continuity. UCLA is the only real school that they use. He gets this one offer towards the end of season 3 from a school called TNT, Texas Northern Tech University. And the recruiter wants to portray Spencer as a bad boy because he got shot. So he thinks that image will fit with their school. Man, that doesn't happen. They just want you to play football. That's all they care about. Now, this is a beef that I kind of have with Hollywood in general. When there's a football film or a TV show, a lot of the times you see that they don't cast athletic actors to play the sport. Now, yes, why should that affect the acting? To me, it's not as believable if they're not actually good at football. There's even a video where Coop, Jordan Baker, Olivia, and Ashton get asked in an interview at a premiere or whatever, who wouldn't make the football team? And all 4 of them say the main character, Spencer James. We've seen plenty of athletes before, turn into actors and actually have some good acting roles. Now, yeah, for the most part, you aren't going to have athletes that are actors because there is a stereotype around football players that you wouldn't find that type around a drama class or whatever, But if you were to really look hard, there are plenty athletes that probably would love to act, because here's one thing that actors and athletes have in common. They love having that spotlight on them. So I think it would work out. We've seen it happen plenty of times before. Because when you have these actors that can't play the sport, to me it's just not believable. As well as these directors, first AD, script supervisors, you guys also need to call out when there is poor acting while playing football. One example in the movie The Duff. What's this character's name? Robbie Amell. It's in this scene in this movie called The Duff where he's the quarterback, right? And he's talking to this one girl and he throws a football, completely doesn't follow through. It's almost like he snaps it back. That is not how a quarterback throws a football. And we all know, our eyes tell us that no man throws a football like that who knows how to play football and start on a varsity high school team. Now, he says that there is reason why he threw it like that because the person he was throwing it to was so close, so he couldn't follow through and just drill them. Well, it better be your job on set as a director, DOP, first AD, script supervisor, whatever. You say, stop. That looks terrible. Let's shoot this again. You scoot back, and you follow through on your throw. because that looked god awful and is not believable at all. And ladies, I'm just going to put this out there too. Ryan Gosling was a complete liability at cornerback on Remember the Titans. I'm not going to let everyone forget about that either. Another thing too, with these networks making football shows, y'all need to get some people who know how to swag out your actors when they're in uniform. You got to get some people on there who know how to swag these people out, because we're football players. We like to look good on the field, all right? Let's not forget to mention that these are kids in this show, yet they're doing so many adult things. One thing that completely pissed me off with season 3 is that in the first half of the season, there's this main conflict of what happened over summer in Vegas. In Vegas. Let's repeat that. In Vegas. So the group of friends go on a trip to Las Vegas and stay in a penthouse suite that Layla's dad pays for because he's a rich producer, whatever, without any parents. And they spend the night gambling, playing cards, having these drinks that looks like they are made by bartenders. These kids aren't just pouring these drinks. They're in well glasses and everything. And these kids are soon to be seniors. It's the summer going into their senior year. There are no parents in Vegas with them. They're walking around like they know what to do, like they've been there 1,000 times. What 17, 18-year-old is going to Vegas on their own with no parents doing whatever the hell they want? That does not happen. And look, I know it's CW drama. Even the player that the story is based off of, Spencer Singer, says he knows it's CW drama, but he loves that the main theme of it is football because that's what he loves. But as the seasons progress, the main theme starts to not become about football. And that's where it just all goes to hell. Oh my God, almost forgot. Oh my God. So yes, Spencer James, a top 300 player in the nation. He decides one episode in season 3 that he wants to go to the park to get some practice in with his brother, right? He's got his cleats, the football, and everything. Of course, someone pulls up to the park that goes to his high school. Of course, he knows Spencer James. Spencer James, the god of football. And he tells Spencer, okay, me and you one-on-one. If I stop you 3 times out of 5, I win. Spencer's wide receiver. He's at defensive back. All right? So the first 2 passes, Spencer catches. And the next 3, the DB stops them. There's some bad passes, but anyways, the next 3, the DB stops him. And let me tell you this. That defensive back that stopped Spencer James, one of the best players in the nation according to the show, just got locked up by a kid wearing jeans and regular tennis shoes. And let me tell you what, that does not happen. If I was one of the top player nations and someone locked me up wearing jeans and tennis shoes, I think I'd have to reconsider my future. That does not happen. They would be slipping all over the place. You can't run or jump in jeans. You just can't. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Why have the kids show up in jeans and tennis shoes? Let's at least put them in shorts. Let's not forget the infamous scene that they decided to put in slow motion. In season 2, Spencer James decides to go to the park to run some routes with Darnell. Spencer runs a hitch route, and my God, this has got to be one of the worst hitch routes I've ever seen. First of all, he's not even in cleats, and his brake is just god awful. After they aired this episode, even football players in the NFL were commenting at how bad this route is. If these players are going out of their way to comment about it, it's bad. This is where we need someone on set to tell him, like, hey, that route was god awful. Please do not air that. And then someone in the editing room to say, hey, this route is god awful. Let's not put it in slow motion for everyone to analyze. Whose idea was that? This is one of the reasons why I do like having athletes casted as these actors. One example in particular is the show Ballers. Now, I know towards the last few seasons of Ballers, it kind of got away from the football, but the main theme was always football, and that never left that show. But they casted players that actually played football. John David Washington, who's the main character in that show, he actually played football running back at Morehouse College and was on a few practice squads for a year in the NFL, but that's it. But you can tell that this dude actually played football in his life. And the other main character in the show played college football at UCLA. And it just makes the show so much more believable to me because there's a lot more continuity with the football itself. A lot of the times, the people that are going to watch these football shows are people that actually played football because that's what they're interested in. Now, I may be analyzing way too hard into this football shit, but it's just what I'm going to do. I grew up playing the sport. I love the sport. And you know other people are going to make these same comments. These kids too, they think they have so much say in this show. Our coaches would chew our ass out if we decided to make some of the decisions that these players in this show were making. It just wouldn't happen. If you were to also cast athletes as these football actors, you know they're going to want to do a good job too because they love the game. So they're going to bring that love for the game into their acting. They don't want to portray football the bad way. They want to portray the way they know it in the way that they love the sport. We've seen it many times before. Athletes being just good actors, you know? Maybe not the best from time to time. You can't always win. But these actors that we cast as football players, they're not always the best actors as well. Like I said, I'm sure there's plenty of athletes that would love to be in front of a camera playing the sport they love. Or acting about the sport they love too. So, you know, there's my little rant about the show All American. Question of the day was, how is All American a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes? I still don't know. It shouldn't be because it's very deceiving. So let me know what you think of season 3 of All American. You can catch it on CW, you can catch it on Netflix, HBO Go. Let me know what you thought. And if you think it's as bad as I think it is. That's it for this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like button as well. And I'll see you next time on Blake's Takes.